This scene doesn't work because it has a lot of details. It works because the colors are doing most of the storytelling. Today I want to show you how to use color intentionally in a stylized 3D scene made in a real engine, and how small color decision can completely change the mood and the readability of an environment. If you like stylized graphic and want to support me, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more stylized videos and step-by-step video tutorials. Before touching Unreal, it's important to understand one thing. In stylized scenes, colors is not about realism. It's about clarity and emotion. The first thing I always decide is the mood. Is the scene calm, mysterious, warm, or dramatic? Once the mood is clear, the colors choices become much easier, because every color has a job. For this scene I choose a limited color palette. Using too many colors is one of the most common mistakes in stylized environments. A small palette helps the scene feel cohesive and intentional instead of noisy. Here in the materials you can see that I'm avoiding pure colors. Even for stylized assets, I don't use full saturation. I keep the base color slightly mute, so I have more room to push contrast later with lighting and accents. I usually start with one dominant color that defines the overall mood. This is the color that defines most of the scene and appears on the largest surface. In this case, it's a warm tone that sets the overall feeling. Then a secondary color that supports it. This color supports the main one but stays clearly different in hue and value. I'm using it on a mid-scale element so it adds variation without competing with the focal point. And finally, a small accent color that draws attention to important areas. Contrast is another key principle. If everything has the same saturation and brightness, nothing stands out. In stylized scenes, contrast is what guides the viewer's eye. I like to keep the background more desaturated and softer, while pushing saturation and brightness on the focal points. This way, the viewer immediately understands where to look. These are accent colors. Accent colors should be used very wisely. I'm applying them only to elements I want a viewer to notice first. If everything is an accent, nothing is an accent. So I make sure this color appears only in a few strategic spots. Lighting plays a huge role in color perception. In Unreal, lighting doesn't just illuminate the scene, it reshapes the colors. That's why I always adjust my lighting before fine-tuning materials. For example, a warm key light and a cooler fill light can instantly add depth even to very simple geometry. I'm setting up a simple light first. I'm keeping it warm to reinforce the dominant colors of the scene. You'll notice that I'm constantly orbiting the camera while adjusting lights. This helps me check how the colors behave from different angles and avoiding unwanted color clashes. Post-processing is the final step that ties everything together. In the post-process volume, I'm making small adjustments to contrast and saturation. I'm not trying to fix bad colors here. I'm just unifying what's already working. Color grading helps unify the palette and reinforce the mood. One important thing to remember is that stylization is about simplification. If the color doesn't serve the mood, the composition, or the readability of the scene, it doesn't belong there. When you look at your scene, ask yourself, what's the main color story here? Where do I want the viewer's eye to go? And which colors can I remove or simplify? If you start thinking about color this way, your scene will instantly feel more intentional, more readable, and more professional, even with simple assets. If this video was helpful, let me know. Thank you for watching.